Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my new video. My name is AJ. I'm here to talk about a few things today. I'm going to be talking about Russia switching its gas sales to rubles, and also I'm going to be talking about the strike and LNG gas deal which they have signed today. I'll quickly thank all my Patreon members and supporters and all of the new members that have joined. I really appreciate the support and help you guys have been giving me. Really do appreciate it. So currently at 47 Patreons. Let's get it up to 50. And if you don't want to join my Patreon, you're also welcome to buy me a coffee as well. And the rest of you, I just want to say, if you can do your usual stuff like, share, subscribe, comment, do whatever you can to help the algorithm. It really helps us a lot. And so without further ado, let's get on with the show. A few videos back, I had predicted that Russia will start selling its gas in rubles. This makes the ruble stronger. The West has pretty much failed with its sanctions. The West has pretty much shot itself. And a few people have said, a few wise people have said that the West has picked up a rock and accidentally dropped it in its own foot. So that's what's happened. I think what they really were hoping for is for the ruble to crash, Russia's economy to crash, people rise up, kick out Putin, and Russia becomes a free democracy, right, like USA. So I think that's what they wanted. But time and time again, history has shown sanctions never ever work. Sanctions rarely ever do what they intended. They make the people suffer and they make the country suffer, but they hardly make the people who are in charge suffer. So they don't really work. And USA's main goal was to crush the ruble. And if I looked at the dollar to ruble today, is at 94. And you can see initially it did rise when the sanctions hit, but it's slowly starting to stabilize now. I mean, it's at 94 now. It started rising around 84, so around 10% or just a bit more. So that's not much. I mean, what they expected was 30%, 40%. I think they expected it to go higher and higher. And this is normal. And I think a lot of people in the West, a lot of mainstream media and a lot of YouTubers were basically going on a tangent. They were saying, Russians ruble's going to collapse. Russian ruble's going to collapse. It's gone up 30%. It's gone up 40%. Such as this, Russian rubles falls 40%. All of these journalists, all of these Western media, all of these Instagrammers, YouTubers, were all getting so excited that Russian ruble's going to collapse. And all of these politicians were literally trying to outdo each other. Who's going to give Russia the biggest sanction? And they were literally standing up like it's an auction house and putting their hands up saying, I'm going to do this. I'm going to sanction Russia with this. I'm going to sanction Russia with that. My sanction's bigger than yours. No, my sanction's bigger than yours. They sanctioned Russia so hard that they even sanctioned themselves. They didn't even think about things like oil and gas, or where they're going to get it from. And I knew and I predicted that day, if you look at my previous videos, that Putin will ask these countries to pay gas and oil in rubles. And if they don't, then it doesn't matter. Russia will go elsewhere. They'll sell it to China. They'll sell it to India. They have other buyers. They don't need Europe. So what did Europe and US do as a retaliation? Well, you see this news coming out today. US-EU strike LNG deal as Europe seeks to cut Russian gas. So this article tells me that US has got pretty much what it wanted. It is the short-term winner at the moment. And I see a lot of articles as well. I'm going to talk about something else. I'm going to be very independent and biased here. And there's a lot of articles also saying that this is going to be the end of the US dollar reserve currency. And this is going to be the end of the dollar. And, a lot of people are getting excited by it. But one thing you do not want to rule out is the United States of America. You do not want to rule them out. They are not going to give up their dollar reserve without a fight. And if it means going to war, they will go to war. So you can never ever rule it out. So there's a story about Saudi selling oil to China in Chinese RMB, and people are saying, "Oh, the dollar's going to collapse. We're going to lose our reserve currency." Every single paper was talking about it. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, to be honest. It might happen in the future, but not in the short term. So this gas deal means they will pretty much buy, they will sell a lot of gas to Europe, and they're probably going to be selling it in dollars. Do you know why? Because Europe has got no choice. Europe has been backed into a corner, and USA can demand whatever they want. USA can say, "Look, Russia's threat. Russia's invaded Ukraine, and Russia's the bad guy. So you need to buy oil from us. Do not buy from them." And Europeans are like, "Yeah, okay, we'll buy it from you. How much is it?" And USA will put in all of their demands. They will say, "It's this price, but you got to trade in dollars." Americans have got no bargaining chip in this, no bargaining chip whatsoever. They cannot bargain this deal. And again, this deal has been pushed through on the fast track, same way those sanctions were pushed through as a fast track, without discussing terms or what it's going to cost. They just went ahead and did it. So America's winning. They're going to trade in dollars. So for the dollar reserve currency, it's not going to disappear overnight. If this European gas deal happens and they eventually replace all of the gas, maybe not all, but let's say 2/3 of the gas to Europe that Russia was doing, that's a hell of a lot of gas. That's a lot of energy that they're selling to Europe. And American, the rich will get richer in America. The oil barons and the gas barons in America, they're going to be drowning in money, swimming in money. The nicest possible way are the Europeans. And they are the biggest fools. They are falling into the American trap. You would think anyone with the ounce of brain or intelligence can see from a mile what America was planning. Ever since this Nord Stream 2 pipeline came into effect, the Americans had discussed ways they can cancel Nord Stream 2, ways they can get Europeans to stop buying gas from Russia, and ways for Europeans to buy LNG from America instead. And I'm sure they went through all of these scenarios, and one of the scenarios was to basically provoke a war and use these poor Ukrainians as a tool for their gains. And this is exactly what it is. They've used these poor Ukrainians in this needless war, using them like tools, using them like pawns, while the real people that make money are the Americans. It's all about their own interests, and a lot of people around the world don't see it. And people are blaming Putin for this. People are saying, "Oh, it's because of Putin, he's invading." But look at the provocations by America. Look at the provocations by NATO. They pushed this war. They pushed Putin to a corner. The Art of War by Sun Tzu here. And, when there's two great powers fighting with each other, and there could be huge losses on both sides, it's very, very important to create a golden bridge to your enemy so they can retreat with their head held high. So basically what that means is they've pushed Putin into a corner, and they haven't got a golden bridge set up so Putin can find a way to stop this war and leave with everyone's head held up high. So when I say that, they could have easily said, okay, look, if you stop this invasion, we'll sign a deal where Ukraine will not be part of NATO. Europe and probably other parts of the world are just placing sanctions after sanctions to Russia, and Russia feels it's got no choice but to go ahead because it's got all of these sanctions now. No choice anymore. And even if Russia withdraws, those sanctions are still going to be in place, and it's going to give the power to the Europeans and the Americans. So Russia has got no choice. There's no way out except forward. They got to keep doing what they're doing. And even today, NATO and Americans are saying, that Ukraine has got choice. They're a democracy. They can choose whatever organization they want to join, whether it's NATO or anything else. They're still insisting that. And, all they had to do was say Ukraine will not join NATO. We understand Russia's security concerns, so let's go into the negotiating table, let's talk. The Americans are winning, short term from this war, and I've made a video on this, why 10 things America will gain from this war. And the proof is right there with this deal. America will sell a lot of expensive LNG gas to Europe, and they will make a lot of money out of this. They will make a lot of money from selling weapons to the Europeans as well. And if you want to look at that video again, I'll try and put the link in the description. But again, all my predictions have come true. And the poor Europeans are going to be suffering. Their industry is not going to be competitive. The Korean rising, the British people, the European people will have to pay higher and higher for their energy costs, for their gas. The businesses will have to pay higher for their costs, and they're just going to be uncompetitive with the rest of the world, especially with Chinese companies, American companies. And again, America has pretty much come out of this looking like they're some sort of superhero, the good guys, and Russians are the bad guys. And the Europeans, and I have to say, these fools have fallen for it. I mean, any other person would see this a mile away. Any other person with an intelligent brain would have said, hang on a second, we're just falling into the Americans' arms. We need to think about this. Let's step back for a second and, let's talk about all of these sanctions on Russia and how it's going to hurt us and what we're going to do. Let's not exaggerate the situation. Let's, stand back a second. Let's take a breather. Let's talk. Instead, they go ahead and do things like this. So this is what's going to happen. Russia's going to look at this deal, and Russia's going to start moving a lot of the gas away from the Europeans to the Chinese. They're going to start fast tracking a lot of pipe work from Russia to China. They're also going to fast track pipelines going into India, and they're going to push for more deals with India. They're going to be pushing for more deals with the rest of the world. Talking about ASEAN, because European companies are not going to be very competitive, I can see a rise in ASEAN countries, ASEAN businesses, and Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore. These countries will start making more money than the Europeans. They're going to be much more competitive, and I can see Russia selling gas and energy to them a lot more as well. And the East, they're also going to be looking at Central Asia. They're also going to be looking at Africa as well. So there's a lot of markets around the world. It's not all about Europe. And you have to think about this. The prices of gas is through the roof at the moment. It's really, really high. And the reason it's high, because it's high on demand and not enough supply. So when you have something that's high on demand, the prices go high. When something is low on demand, the prices go low. That's how it works. So if the prices are so high, that means there's more demand than supply. So I don't know where America's going to get its LNG from, but it looks like they're not going to make it out of thin air. They're obviously going to take it away from something else and give it to the Europeans. So there's still a supply issue as well to supply Europe with that much gas. They're going to have to make a lot more tankers, and it's not that easy. So I don't know where they're going to do this. I mean, there's options out there. There's obviously the Iranian JCPOA, but that's stalled. There is no way anything can be done with Venezuela unless they get rid of all of the sanctions, and maybe then they can start, building some good relationships. But I don't know where they're going to get all of this extra gas from. I just don't see it. And to build new gas fields and to increase production, you can't just do it overnight. It takes years. And yeah, obviously can do a lot of shale gas as well. They can do a lot of fracking. Again, that's damaging to the American environment, because fracking and shale gas, it is very, very damaging to the environment, and it damages water supply as well. So I can see a lot more people demonstrating due to fracking issues, and there will be supply issues as well in America. I think a lot of people will protest because of it. Climate change as well. 2030 is just around the corner, and a lot of European countries have said that they're going to go carbon neutral by 2030 at the earliest. It's only 8 years away. 8 years is not that long. And already a lot of countries are using more fossil fuels. They're using more coal. They're using more gas. The world needs more energy. And they need more energy because, everything's going electrical now. You got EV cars, and with EV cars you need charging points, and they need energy. IoT devices, they need more energy. And as you know, every single year there's mobile phones coming up which are more and more powerful. TVs are becoming more powerful. Laptops are becoming more powerful. And they all need more power. So the world always needs more power. If you are a tech company, you have a data center, they need more power. If you want to do something like Bitcoin mining, they take a lot of power as well. The world needs more and more electricity. The world needs more and more power every single year. I live in UK, and I can tell you for a fact that all of the money they've put in for renewable energy has pretty much gone to waste. They've spent a lot of money on solar panels, but if you live in England, you'll know that we hardly get any sun. So they've been pretty much useless. And they've also spent billions on wind farms as well. And last year we've hardly had any wind as well, so they've pretty much gone to waste. So Britain has been relying on fossil fuels like coal and gas for energy, and the rest of Europe has as well. So the problem with renewable energy is you can't store it. So that's a huge issue. So if there's no sun, you're pretty much buggered, or if there's no wind, you're pretty much buggered. Unless they can mass produce energy storage with renewable energy, then it's pretty much useless most of the time. So the world still requires fossil fuels at this moment. And they have only 8 years to go carbon neutral. There is no way they can achieve net zero. And I think we're all going to be doomed, to be honest, the way things are going. To get rid of climate change, to fight, the increase in global temperature, the world should be coming together and doing this together. Instead, they're fighting all the time. There's wars, and America started this ridiculous trade war with China. We are moving towards a multipolar world, and this is only bad for the environment, bad for the planet, really bad for the climate, and really bad for the future generations. So on that note, I'm going to end the video. Let me know what you guys think. Look forward to reading your comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.